Boxing truth here. Now, there were some people that jumped the gun yesterday and were saying that Chris Eubank Jr. had priced himself out of a Golovkin fight and that the fight was off. But that was just mere speculation, as English, Eubank Sr., and Jr. has assured the fans that they're just waiting on the contract from Matchroom and that the fight will be signed once the contract is given to them. Now, Jr. has already assured Golovkin, who was getting impatient, that perhaps Eubank Jr. had lost his pen in order to put ink on paper to sign the deal to fight Golovkin for September. But Jr. has assured Golovkin that the pen is already in his hand and that he will sign once the contract is given to him. Now, Eddie Hearn has already explained why it's taking some time for this deal to get completed. It's complicated. A lot of contracts need to be drafted. A contract with Sky Sports, a contract with HBO, a contract with K2 Promotions, and also a contract with Matchroom. So a lot of contracts need to be drafted. Everyone involved in the fight has to agree to the points. And then once it's all agreed to, then they can sign pen to paper. But it takes some time and it's a little complicated. But Eddie Hearn, I don't believe, is holding up the deal. It's just that all the points have been agreed to on all the sides involved. Golovkin has agreed on his side of the deal, and he's just waiting on Eubank Jr. to put his name to sign on the dotted line. Now, Abel Sanchez is saying that that's been the hard part throughout negotiation processes when it comes to Golovkin and opponents that are being considered to fight him. That when it comes to the last part of the negotiations, pretty much the opponent signing to fight Golovkin, that it's like a moment of truth for the fighter. The fighter becomes all of a sudden hesitant, distant, that there's sleepless nights about finally getting that final drafted contract and having put pen to paper. And usually most fighters don't sign on the dotted line. So usually Golovkin's team had to look for alternative opponents that are willing to fight. But Jr. is serious about fighting Golovkin. Not many expected the Eubanks to get this far in the process of fighting Golovkin. But Jr. is serious because his father is serious. Eubank Sr. is serious. Eubank Sr. is the guy that guides Eubank Jr.'s career. He's the one who sets up the opponents, who he fights, when he fights. And right now he believes his son can beat Golovkin. And that is the reason why Jr. is very serious, because his father has the belief in him. As long as his father gives the okay, Jr. will do what his father says. And his father truly believes that Eubank Jr. can beat Golovkin. But when it comes to this fight, of course, this is boxing. Not everybody's satisfied. Some people think it's a mismatch. Some people think Eubank Jr. is not ready. I don't care about that. I'm just happy for the first time a named fighter, a top 5 middleweight, is willing to get in the ring with Golovkin in order to get this high-profile fight that Golovkin has been yearning for. Is it a pay-per-view fight in the United States? No, but it's a big fight in the UK. It's also a big fight when it comes to American boxing fans as well. This will be the most high-profile fight of Golovkin's career. It doesn't matter that Eubank Jr. doesn't have a world-recognized name on his resume. It doesn't matter that he's just a British champion. The guy can fight. He's young, he's fresh, he's confident, he's strong. He's not the biggest puncher, but he's a good puncher. He's got good speed, good athleticism. And I think he could give Golovkin some rough moments, some really tough moments in the ring because of Eubank Jr.'s confidence. Now, he's saying that when the fight happens, he has no game plan for Golovkin, that he's simply going to seek and destroy. And that's exactly what Eubank Jr. needs to do in a Golovkin fight. He can't fight differently than he has been. If you watch Eubank Jr. fights, he's a guy that explodes on his opponents, that goes all out, he treats some of his opponents like a heavy bag, just unleashes combinations to the head and body, and is entertaining as hell when he does it. He needs to do the same thing against Golovkin. He must show, he can't show any type of respect. He needs to go in there and fight like he always does. Now, of course, Golovkin's power, his boxing ability, his technical skills could turn Eubank Jr. into a complete different fighter. Maybe Eubank Jr. will get a hold of Golovkin's power and then will just pretty much go into a shell of himself. Not fight like he usually fights. But Jr. can't worry about that. He needs to fight like he always fights. Go in there, show absolutely no respect like he does for his other opponents. Can't show that he's intimidated. He's explained that most of Golovkin's opponents are scared before they come into the ring. And he needs to take his own words of his advice. He can't be scared. He can't show that he's intimidated. He needs to go in there and treat Golovkin just like any one of his other opponents. Just go guns blazing. It'll be quite a sight to see Junior go after Golovkin and just unleash those body shots and uppercuts and combinations like he does on his other opponents. It's going to be interesting to see how Golovkin deals with that. Maybe he'll deal with it quite easily. Maybe he'll counter the shit out of Eubank Jr. and knock him out cold within 3 rounds. But that's the intrigue about this fight. I just want to see it. I want to see Eubank Jr. throw his trademark uppercuts on Golovkin. Maybe he can land those triple, quadruple uppercuts he throws, and maybe he could make something happen. So, do I favor Golovkin? Of course. I expect him to win that fight. But we still have to fight the fights. This is boxing. And Eubank Jr. He's a character. He's an interesting opponent. He's a guy that creates for entertaining fights. He could make it an interesting fight with Golovkin, no matter how long it lasts. It could be 4 rounds. It could be 3 rounds. Maybe it can go past 6. But Junior's a strong kid. Maybe he can take Golovkin's power. I've seen Junior rock before in fights, but I've never seen him down, never seen him get completely hurt in a fight. I've only seen him get buzzed in fights. So he just hasn't fought the type of puncher of Golovkin's caliber. But just waiting on this fight to get signed, sealed, and delivered. It should definitely happen. I think it's definitely going to go down. It's just taking a little longer than expected for contracts to be signed. But once this fight gets signed, I just don't see how people can complain. I mean, nobody else wants to fight Golovkin. Saunders don't want to fight him. Canelo doesn't want to fight him right now. Jacobs doesn't want to fight him. So, what fight would you rather see? Why wouldn't you want to see this fight? Golovkin, Eubank Jr. No matter how much you think it's a mismatch, would you rather see Golovkin with another no-name opponent? Golovkin versus Highland? Because that's what's going to happen. That's the type of opponents he's going to fight in the United States on HBO. if this fight doesn't get made. You're going to see Golovkin with another no-name opponent. And nobody wants that. Not even Golovkin haters. So this is the fight I believe most people want to see. No matter if you think it's a competitive fight or not, it's an intriguing fight. And Eubank Jr. has style. The confidence, the strength, and then the speed to at least create some interesting moments for Golovkin in that ring. For maybe the first time in his career. This is Boxing Truth. I'm out.